Hi, I'm Anna Loza. I'm here with Bill Combs, and we're going to have a fantastic time here together for a little bit. So, Bill, I know the title of your work is Four Pillar Wellness. So, I love this concept, and I just want to hear a bit more about it. Tell me about the four pillars, how you came up with that, what that means, why it's important to you.
Okay, four pillars resonates with me because it covers the totality of who we are. So it's not just about when I went through my transformation and became a health coach. I wanted to make sure that I didn't just apply the standard work with diet, exercise. I want to make sure I applied work for each client across the entire spectrum of their being. So the four pillars were basically my representation of that aspect. And the way I envisioned it was the pillars were body, mind, heart, and spirit. And the way I conceptualized it was imagine yourself with standing on a table with these four legs. And the four legs are basically ideally the same size and all equally strong, so that upon the table where you stand, you can move, you can adjust, you can go after things in life, because a table is sort of your springboard into life. So the sturdier the table, the more stable the table, the easier you could focus on what you want in life and not focusing on just keeping your balance. Now also imagine that in some cases, maybe some of the legs are not as thick as the others. Maybe they're not even the same size. So now, instead of being able to focus all your energy on going out and attacking whatever you want in life, you have to balance yourself, always paying attention to where you're stepping, how you're stepping. And so by using the four pillars as sort of a metaphor, I'm trying to help people basically level out their platform so they can go ahead and have the best life they can.
I love that. So I'm getting this imagery like with the table that you're talking about. So, and then we start putting things on that table, and that would be like our life experiences, and maybe we're piling it and having a lot of stress. And are we able to support that? Are we able to hold all of that?
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, you're right, because it's basically not only just the core of who we are, our health, our how our heart is, how our spirit is, what we add to it as well. And so could you imagine trying to balance and keep a ball from rolling off the table at the same time trying to, attack something new in your life that you want to do, like a new business or a new venture? It's daunting and overwhelming.
Yeah. So what I love about your work and your approach is that for me personally, when I was just starting out, like a decade ago, I got really into natural food and eating organic, and I got really strict with myself and my approach. And I got really good at that, and health became really good. And then there were all these other parts that I was lacking in. So it didn't really create my best life to only be focused on organic food.
Right.
So that's really what I love about your approach.
Right. It is. There's a saying I've heard multiple times from people, but all the kale in the world is not going to fix a broken heart or a bad job or a bad relationship. I mean, you could eat it till you're blue in or green in the face, and it won't matter. So you really, the thing you have to realize too about the four pillars is they're all interrelated. So by working on one, you do help the others, but you can't work only on one and expect all the others to equally be affected. They are a little bit affected, but not equally affected.
What would you say to someone who hears that and just feels overwhelmed? Like, whoa, I can't work on four things. I can't even work on one. Like, that just sounds overwhelming.
Well, the thing that I do with my clients is that I have them take an assessment. And the assessment, basically, I work with them, and it's very easy. It's very straightforward to determine kind of where they are in each pillar. So we look at, we come up with a numerical score from 1 to 10. 1 being where you're not putting almost any focus into it at all, and it's not very strong, where 10 is, you are pretty much as good as you're going to get. You're doing really well. You have a lot of focus, a lot of strength. Most folks fall between 3 and 6, 7-ish on most of them. So once we know kind of where you stand, the other thing I look at is the biggest gap between the scores. So if your highest score was an 8 and your lowest score was a 4, that represents the largest gap, and it also represents kind of the state of your platform. And so we try to focus then on the low scored area. The higher score areas we'll work on later, but this is a process. It's a baby step, one step at a time. Let's try to get your lowest score area to at least a stable point. And then we try to work out a plan for you over time, whether it's a nutrition plan, whether it's you need to meditate and relieve stress, whether you need to go find a hobby and find a passion in life, or whether you need to go ahead and start embracing more, a heart-centric kind of approach in life and feel a sense of connection. All of those things, each of those things will help you overall, but there are certain things that are probably more suited for certain people at certain times in their life. Mm-hmm. So that assessment helps me determine where to start.
Yeah, nice. That's so personalized. I'm curious, with the people that you've worked with, have you seen a trend in just something that right now culturally this is, more people are coming with like this leg of the table more shaky than the others? Or is it kind of all across the board?
Most of my clients have been women, and most of them come to me thinking one thing, and then in talking with me, we determine it's usually something else. So I'm not sleeping enough, I want to lose some weight, I don't feel healthy. And those are all things that can be handled by diet at some level, but that's, in some cases, those are symptoms that have a much deeper issue. It could be an issue tied to their life, their job, their family. And so I try to make sure we go through all of these things at a high level initially, just to get a lay of the land and see where they are, and then make sure that we're truly addressing the problem and not just trying to address the symptoms. Because, again, eating healthy is going to pay you dividends in a variety of ways, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But that's not going to fix a bad job, or it's not going to fix a bad relationship. It just won't do that. So I don't want folks to come to me and think, if I just change my diet, I'll be happier and that will fix everything else.
Well, right. That's not addressing the 4 pillars, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I love that, as we start to go in one place, it does affect other areas of our life. Like it kind of moves around, and just paying attention to our life in general, just giving that initial attention really sort of supercharges our power to attend and desire and be devoted to our life in general. And then with someone who's able to guide us into actually tending to relationships as well as food, and just giving us such a holistic approach. And, that's really what I appreciate about what you do.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I do both the health coaching and the life coaching, and I feel like they are both, they kind of two sides of the same coin. Yeah. And they both are very important to most people. And again, I just feel like most folks believe they find their issue is one issue, and it's very specific, and they want a very specific solution to that issue, so they can kind of go ahead and put it aside.
Yeah.
And it takes a long time to help them understand that, that's rarely ever the case.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So what is it, have you had some sort of experience in your life that has led you down the path of now offering something so holistic to someone?
Okay, yes. There's like kind of a twofold answer there. One is something I just discovered or just realized recently, and that is my life journey has been one of being heavily involved in different aspects of all 4 pillars. So I started out with my life journey being a very in the mind. So a lot of study, a lot of education, I just devoured knowledge. I'm still to this day a very avid reader. I have hundreds of books to this. I've had as many as thousands of books in my house in the past. So I educated myself strongly. And over time, I then graduated more towards a spiritual pursuit. So I studied many different philosophies, many different religions. I've been part of different spiritual traditions across the years. So I've kind of added that aspect to it. And then recently with an accident that I had where I fell and hurt my leg and kind of got myself into a state of, okay, I had a leg issue, and then I thought I had maybe some PTSD from the accident. And so I started having issues that I never really had before. And I started looking at the root cause of those issues. And the first thing that came up was just kind of looking at my health. At the time, I was an avid computer game player, and that's kind of what I did. That was my entire life was that and work. And so that was a distraction, that it was trying to hide things from what I was trying to deal with. And so I realized that and started to apply changes in my lifestyle. And I don't want to make it sound, I did a lot of changes, but I don't want people to think I did them all overnight, because I did not. It took over a period of almost 3 years. But I shifted my focus from poor eating, poor health habits, distractions, to eating healthy, taking care of myself, understanding those relationships between body, mind, heart, and spirit. I began to re-practice spiritual practices again. I incorporated a lot of daily practices in my life: gratitude, prayer, meditation, every day. I looked at things from the heart. I started understanding the idea of connection. I've had some incredible meditations in which I literally could feel myself become one with the universe. And those are an amazingly rewarding thing to have happen. And it has opened my heart in ways that, this head person for most of my life never would have thought possible. Mm. And so all that past that I've done has kind of prepared me to be able to help people across all 4 pillars, because I've literally trekked through all 4 of them now over the course of my life. And so I have the ability to share what I've been through. It's different for everybody. And what I have done and seen is not the same as what somebody else may have done and seen. But I believe, fairly easily, at least nudge them in a direction that might help them.
Yeah, that's so powerful to speak from that kind of experience. So you told me you work a little bit with Taoist teachings. I'd love to just hear more about that and what you do with that and anything.
Taoism to me is, and Buddhism too, are kind of the 2 things that drive me today. They are, they kind of form what I call my sacred triangle. And my sacred triangle is compassion, unconditional love, and connection. And the ability to kind of simply be in life and not kind of, instead of letting life happen to you, you kind of happen to life. And to be okay with not getting attached to too many things, and understanding that attachments are not just about things, they're about people as well. And you have to be able to kind of, handle those kind of changes and challenges there. Taoism is, in essence, to me, a true sense of balance. And it is a balance in all aspects of life. Some aspects you won't even realize until you actually kind of look at from the future, look back at it and say, oh my God, I actually try to get some balance. I didn't realize I was trying to do that. But Taoism is about balance. It's about the idea of flow. It's about the idea of walking a path. And while the path may have many wonderful, beautiful clearings that you may want to spend some time in, you don't want to dawdle in those clearings for too long. You want to get back on the path and continue on your way. And so, to me, being a Taoist is just enjoying the path, enjoying the clearings, enjoying the people I meet in each clearing, but always remembering to get back on the path and to keep walking, keep balance, keep harmony in my life, and to be able to try to give that to others if they're willing to accept that gift.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. Yeah. The middle way.
Been away.
I had this sort of like, well, where does the path lead? But,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Exactly. So do you incorporate, do you talk about that specifically in your sessions? Like this is Taoism and try this Taoist meditation or technique, or is it just like an underlying philosophy that you're bringing?
It's more of an underlying philosophy. I teach meditation, so
Mm-hmm.
I think that's applicable to anybody. But out of respect for individual traditions and spiritual traditions people might have, I don't bring that up unless they're interested in it and want to learn more about it. I've had quite a few folks who or different types of spiritual traditions who have found Buddhism to be a great supporting structure for them. The Dalai Lama actually said something along the lines of uh, Buddhism can be useful in making everybody better at what they already are. It doesn't have to be a religion per se. It's more about just adding some great spiritual guidelines to your life.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it really depends upon the individual and how open they are to that.
Yeah. So you said that you work a lot with women. Is there kind of like tell us more about that, about like clients and who comes to you and who like really benefits from what you're offering?
So my clients are women, and mostly it's because, for the most part, most women I have met are more interested in trying to improve themselves and get better. And they kind of recognize challenges in their lives a little bit earlier than men. Myself is a great example. It took me quite a few years to recognize challenges in my life. So I am definitely a typical person, typical man there. But in my past, I have had a lot of experience with women in my life who follow a pattern, and that pattern was kind of based off of my memories of my mother, and in her life being somebody who never quite realized her potential for a variety of reasons, whether it's societal, family, own self-doubt. And so I always felt that she lived a fraction of the life she could have lived. Had she had somebody there to help her, to support her, to listen to her, to be her cheerleader, she could have lived a very different life. So from my perspective, I kind of feel like I'm trying to give back and help other women, because I couldn't do that for my mom. I was far too young, but to give other women the same chance. And I have done that with several clients, and it's amazing to watch them come in and be so unsure of themselves on so many levels, and in several months to be somebody who's confident and sees potential in themselves for the first time.
Mm.
And that's an amazing experience.
Yeah. I feel a lot of integrity from you when you're speaking about this and a lot of love for your clients. And it
Okay.
almost sounds to me like you're doing this healing of the maternal line of your ancestry. And yeah.
Yeah, that's actually very astute and I think accurate. And I think part of it is we need it. We tend to be, our society in general is very hard, both on men and women. We tend to force expectations, roles, etc. on them, and that's unfortunate because most of us are individuals and we don't get the chance to live our authentic self. And that's almost kind of, to me, the original sin. I mean, when you can't be who you really are, you are denying the world something so unique, because there will never be anybody else like you on the planet, ever. Even those who believe reincarnation or not, it doesn't matter. That unique set of traits that is you today will never exist any other time. And so to be less than who you are, to not be able to give your gifts to the world, you are denying the world something immeasurable.
Wow, just got chills on that. Yeah. Yeah, I get the feeling that, and I experience this in my practice with people as well, just to, as we help someone see through their own notions, their own veil that, as you're saying, society sort of gifted us these programs and, we've taken them on because we didn't really know any better. And then all of a sudden we have this clouded vision of our innate divinity and our innate light. Every time I work with someone and just, I'm so grateful to be able to support someone in seeing their true nature just a little bit more, and just, we all deserve love. We all deserve peace. We all deserve grace. And it's so accessible to us as just our own mind, really, that's deluding us from really living in that all the time.
Right, right. We are our own worst enemy.
Wow, it's just like profound truth. I don't know where to go from there.
It's a profound truth, but it unfortunately is not as well known as it should be.
Yeah. So, then people like you are in service to bringing that forward. And I think it's really amazing also from a feminine perspective to have a safe masculine reflection to go to for that kind of work, and to do that in a way that's very honorable and very just peaceful and present and intentional, just for the highest good of your client and that relationship. So I just want to honor you and thank you on behalf of females.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how it's just a little bit of support goes a long way. For example, I had a client this weekend who's been struggling because she's been experiencing a lot of psychic feeling. She's very intuitive, she's a natural psychic, and she's been afraid of what she's been experiencing and seeing. And when she goes to talk to her family kind of belittles her, and she was beginning to feel like she was crazy, like there was something wrong with her. So I tried to explain to her, I said, you are not alone. You have many, many people like this. I said, I'm like this too. And she was kind of like, okay, if you say so, but I'm kind of dubious. And then this weekend, she talked to me, and she said that there was a fair going on in downtown, a healing fair. And she was like debating about going, and she didn't want to go. And I said, look, I said, go. I said, if you go, you're going to meet other people who are going to not laugh at you, who are going to embrace you, who are going to think you're the best things in sliced bread and want to talk to you. You'll feel better. So she went. She had the most profound experience with a psychic reading, and she came out of it. She called me, and she came out. She said, I feel so amazing because I know I'm not crazy. And I said, that's all it took. I didn't do anything. All I needed to do was just try to push her to try something, to go get that right exposure that she needed to feel like her life was okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now she's off and running, and now I have to slow her down a little bit.
Yeah, well, that really speaks to me about the value of stepping out of our tight containers of reflection with family. There could be, just patterns of trauma repeated and repeated, and people just in the same cycles of, unfortunately, not knowing how to effectively honor each other, how to effectively support each other, and just having almost these like samskaras, these repetitive patterns of, well, this is how we interact, this is how I see you, and we're just going to keep doing that. So stepping out and really, and to anyone listening to this and watching this who's feeling just numb or confused or feeling like you're crazy, like you're saying, just to go out and even go on some spontaneous walk around town and stop where you want to stop and sit down where you want to sit down. And even what we see and when we interact with something, there's just such a big world out there for reflections of our divine nature and our goodness and our togetherness.
Yes. That's the key thing. Is one of the things I learned, and it was really, really good for me to learn, was in getting involved with B School, was to realize that there are so many other people out there that feel the same way I do. And so even myself, who helps people see this, sometimes needs to be reminded as well. And it's always nice to meet other folks out there and to see that the world is not as dark sometimes as it seems.
Yeah, that would be my wish for everybody, to just like a blessing for humanity to remember that we're here together, we're sharing this planet together, and there is someone there who can reach out to you as you reach out.
Right, right. You're
And
never
it's
alone.
that,
You're never really alone.
yeah, the capacity to just have that bravery or that moment or that someone like yourself who suggests like, yeah, reach out. And that can really change someone's life, change the whole
Right.
trajectory.
Yep. Yeah, this was not a major diet shift. This was not anything traditional. This was simply connect to somebody.
So
And
what pillar would you put that under?
under spirit.
Yeah.
And heart. Actually, it's under both.
Mm.
Very rarely will anything I teach somebody be only under one pillar.
Yeah.
Because I'm a firm believer in being efficient. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, everything I teach, almost without fail, would actually fall under all four, because it will have some impact on everything you do.
Yeah.
Which I think is sort of the reason why, when people get worried, because people have expressed concern about, oh my God, I have so much to do. But every little step you take on any pillar will raise the others a little bit. So baby step here, baby step there, and before you know it, they're all kind of coming up. And that's the beauty of the fact that you don't have to feel like there's this mountain to climb on a pillar. If your pillar score is a 2, you don't have a mountain to climb. Frankly, there's a 2 or 3 changes that can be made in your life that will take you way up that level. And they're very easy to do. And so it is not time consuming. It is mind shifting, though, because you have to shift some of your perceptions to be able to see that. And that sometimes is the hardest thing, is to give somebody something simple and they look at it and it's like, what's that? That can't be it. It's too simple. And I'm like, yeah, it is simple. So why aren't you doing it?
Mm-hmm. Well, simple, maybe not easy.
Yes, that is true.
Like
I never
so
said it
many
was
of
easy.
the
I said
Taoist
it was
teachings.
simple.
Yeah. Well, like EFT, it's so simple and deceptively simple that I personally avoided learning about it for years, because I thought,
Right.
tapping, what is that? That looks silly. That could never help. Forget about it. I'm going to go to something more challenging. Show me something that looks challenging. I'll go in there. And
I'm a
tapping.
firm believer in tapping. After working with you on that, it has been a flood of insights that have come through it. And I'm like you, I spent years studying philosophies and systems that were very complicated, because I thought complicated was the right solution. If they're complicated, they have to be good. And today, my philosophy in life is so simple that it's people think it like, okay, but it's like Rumi's quote, you are not a drop in the ocean, you're the entire ocean in a drop. That's deceptively simple, but it's unbelievably profound if you really think about it. And I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that kind of simplicity enhances all of life, so the poems or the philosophies in the Tao Te Ching, those are incredibly simple. And one of the ones that comes to mind about ocean and water, something like the ocean is below everything, and yet all rivers flow into it.
Yep.
So like it receives everything, but in its simplicity, it's humble. It's just there.
Right.
Yeah, it might be kind of a figment of our culture right now that just we keep being pushed to do more, achieve more. Oh, you're not as far ahead as you could be, should be. I personally have challenged to just take a nap during the day. I feel like I got to be doing something, and I'm working with EFT and like actively relaxing my body in other ways. I'll just lay down and okay, for 10 minutes, I'm going to work on relaxing. Because I'm definitely in there that, well, shouldn't I be doing something? Is there something else? So it's amazing to just have that kind of support that you're offering your clients to see another perspective, to just take another pathway that is rife with ease.
Yep. Self-care is as critically important. And one of the things I've learned from my clients, almost without exception, most of them have this problem, and they're so busy that when they find themselves with free time, they don't know what to do with it. And that's mind-boggling to me, because I tell them, you don't have to do anything. You can just simply sit and drink a margarita if you want to. You don't have to do a thing. But it's so hard for them to feel like that's okay. Mm-hmm. That they're going to be judged by others or judging themselves, that they're actually not doing something productive. And the concept is you really can't serve from an empty vessel, and if you run yourself ragged, you're not helping anyone. Your kids, your spouse, nothing. You can't help people if you're just kind of empty all the time. And self-care for both men and women is very important, particularly for women, because I think they tend to do a lot of the familial kind of responsibilities, caring for the home and the hearth, and so they tend to run themselves emotionally down, whereas men typically run themselves mentally down. If I come home from work, I'm mentally drained, not usually emotionally drained, but I know that women come back usually emotionally drained, either kids, dealing with people and constant, that just kind of drains them out. So self-care is extremely important. In fact, I tell most of my clients, I try to insist on 30 minutes a day. I don't always win right away, but I get at least 10 minutes a day to start with. And that 10 minutes can be doing anything that they like or nothing, just to start getting used to the fact that it's okay to pause.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, self-care seems to be such a big realization right now, and I'm seeing a lot of us really bringing that to the surface. And I love to sort of bypass that selfishness feeling by calling it sacred self-care. So it's like care for the sacred self, to just remember that we are spirit embodied, and to care for that. So even, so the female ego has a lot of like, I will be a good female if I take care of many things at once and take care of everybody and put myself last. And the male ego has its own spin on those things.
I gotta fix everything on the male ego. I gotta fix everything.
Fix everything, understand everything, get to the bottom of it, and then we'll be okay.
Then we'll be okay, yeah.
Yeah, versus just being okay right now.
Yep.
And these kind of like inner game tools of addressing our emotional beliefs, doing the 4-pillar work, loving ourselves from all those directions, setting up our table with sturdy foundation, sturdy legs, to be able to put the feast of life on top of that, to be able to really like load that table with all the goodness and some of the stress that's inevitably going to come, and still remain solid and sturdy, and just be able to be there enjoying everything that comes our way.
Yep. And to be able to make change happen in your life. Once you have that foundation, people can make change happen and make their dreams happen. Mm-hmm. I'm a perfect example of that. I took some time to get my table stable, and then I had a dream, and my dream was to create this company and to do this work. And so I was driven. It was not work. It was a labor of love, but that's what I needed to do. Yeah. And I couldn't do that before. There would have been no way for me to accomplish that, 10 years ago. I would have wanted to, perhaps. I may have wanted to, but I would have been stumbling around and trying to juggle the balls of the rest of my life that was trying to keep balance, that I couldn't have done it. So it is so important to be able to get those balance, and then you can do such amazing things with your life, whatever you want.
Yeah, it's kind of like this amazing oxymoron that as soon as we give ourselves that time for that kind of deep, authentic, the self-care of having our life be sturdy, we can actually create and accomplish so much more. Right. So it's this oxymoron of if we just push through and become exhausted, we won't be able to take care of anything, even though we think that we're actually going somewhere by doing that.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Amazing. So do you work with herbs or kind of like medicinal mushrooms, like adaptogens in your work? Do you do some of that?
Yeah, I'm an herbalist, and I'm also certified in use of essential oils and aromatherapy. So I I'm a firm believer in natural remedies where possible. Um, I'm also, as a person who has hurt himself, I also know the power of allopathic medicine and the ability to handle things like broken bones and stuff. But when it comes to issues of really the body and the mind, I have found that natural remedies are much better. Taoist schools of herbalism, Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, those are all areas that I've studied, and I use them myself in my life. They have done amazing things for me. And, if people are open to those things, I will talk to them about those and recommend those. But again, not everybody's open to that type of natural remedy. Most people are open to fixing their diet. They hate it, but they'll do it. But when you're talking about things like herbal medicines, that's not real. And the unfortunate thing is that most pharmaceuticals today are based off of some herb, some
Yeah,
phytochemical in an herb. So it's not like, herbal medicine is really the grandfather of the pharmaceutical industry, and people just don't realize that.
definitely. And I just feel so like, wow, I mean, we gotta connect you with the people who are down with herbalism because I feel like that's just popping right now. So if you're
It is.
listening and you're into herbalism, comment below because make it happen.
Yep. Herbalism is definitely a passion, and I want to make sure that we do more. Now, you have to be, like anything else, you got to be careful about who you're talking to and what you're doing. But especially with certain types of herbs, but some common herbs that are just good, like the best herbs are the ones you could grow, like rosemary,
Hmm.
basil, thyme, parsley, oregano. Just grow those herbs and use those in your cooking, and those will have an immense healthy benefit for you.
Oh, it's just incredibly antibacterial, antifungal,
Yep.
antiviral.
Yep.
Um, the
Oh,
essential
yeah.
oils of those can help to cure so many things.
Yep.
And, just speaking of like safety with herbs, adaptogenic herbs,
Yep.
I love that because just to come back to this theory of like balancing our life for when something happens, like with the adaptogens, we can over time build up our reserves of strength and homeostasis and balance in our body. And there's such intelligent herbs that we can really, like almost anyone can be using them because as they enter the body, each body interacts with them differently, right? So an
Yep.
adaptogen will come in and modulate the system to
Yep.
optimize that particular system. It doesn't just do like one particular thing in the body.
Yeah,
Um,
there's some beautiful herbs out there that are great for they're great adaptogens. A lot of adaptogen of mushrooms, mushroom types. But I would make sure I caution everybody that if you're on medication today, certain herbs and adaptogens can sometimes enhance the medication in a
mhm,
positive way or make it stronger or sometimes weaken it.
mhm,
So there are some great, I mean, check with your doctor, but there are also some great books that actually list literally every herb or adaptogen out there, as well as every medicine out there, and it can tell you what kind of interaction it has. You just
mm,
need to be very careful about them. If you're not on medications at all, even at that point, I would tell you to always start with a small amount, see how
yeah,
you react
sure.
to it. But like I take a lot of chaga mushroom and reishi mushroom extracts
Mhm.
that I get, and those are both incredibly powerful immune system boosters and adaptogens. I find that the funniest thing is when my entire household had the flu, um, I started taking oregano oil just as people started getting sick. I never got sick. I mean,
Mhm.
the flu was all over my house. I mean, it was everywhere. But such natural remedies, like or doing some essential, like putting lemon in an essential oil diffuser, helps clear the air of bacteria. And you would be surprised at how much sickness you can avoid by making some very simple changes.
Oh yeah, and I mean, what I love about that is that those changes are like they feel good, they smell good, they
Yep.
taste good. Like it's fun to do that. It's
Yep.
like nature has she doesn't just count on us wanting to psychologically, like, okay, I got to do this change. Like she makes it feel good.
Yep.
That's what's so amazing about it. When I started making these changes over a decade ago, I was like, wait, I get to do what tastes good and smells good. Like,
That's right.
why haven't I been? This is
Sign me up.
incredible. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
thank goodness.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
after a while, and when I start introducing people to these things, I'm like, okay, just sniff this. Smells good, right?
Yeah.
So you don't even have to convince people because the senses will take over for it.
Yeah. I've started a trend at work. I mean, I work in a corporate environment, and so I brought a diffuser into the office,
Nice.
into my office, and I created my own blends of essential oils, and it got to the point people started coming by my office just to smell what I was actually using in there, and so they would come in, and people like to have meetings in my office because of it. And we'd sit down and we'd talk, and they started talking to me about essential oils. And like, how do they work? And so just putting that in my office, started a conversation. And I was actually surprised how many folks actually know about essentials but don't really use them.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not hard, guys. I mean, this is, well, I don't know what oils to use. I said, that's not hard either. And then they would ask what blends I was using. I said, well, there's a blend for sleep. There's a blend for being active during the day. There's a blend to relax. And they're very simple. And so I started a trend. A lot of managers now in their offices are using diffusers. Mm-hmm. And so that's actually, to me, an improvement in overall health and wellness, because guess what? Those will help stop the spread of germs. It will help relax people. It will help make people focused. And I don't think anybody realizes that benefit, but I do.
Well, non-verbally, I think so, because if people are congregating in your office, it feels good. And a person who feels good and relaxed has more creative ideas and can be more productive.
Yep.
So it's all related. And I find it so incredible that there's this trend in the corporate world right now to integrate mindfulness and maybe essential oils even, and it can be kind of a pop thing. Okay, though underneath it, there's this understanding of, whoa, we've overexerted ourselves. What kind of tools can we use to just feel good while we're also outputting creativity and ideas and products?
Yeah, and it's certainly not cheaper than a medical bill.
Yeah, exactly. It's, it's health insurance, it's everything. So from all different sides, it makes so much sense.
I work in the health insurance field. That's where I work. So it's funny that the wellness program at the company I work for, they're starting to look at some of those types of things. Meditation and mindfulness. And I've been trying to push, not having as much luck pushing organic in the cafeteria, but I'm trying. But some of the other things, like the essential oil diffusers, that's something that I think is going to become bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And, mindfulness meditation. But folks come to me now. I've actually helped several coworkers. One's got diabetes, and I've been able to help him kind of change his diet a little bit, and just working with them, kind of not really officially, just kind of helping out where I can. But I think you're right. I think change is coming. It's just maybe slower in some areas, some states, some businesses, some industries compared to others.
Yeah, well, there's always those forefront kind of evolutionary idea holders. And it's so cool because it seems like you're really in a company that showcases that, even just individually. So a company is made of humans and individuals, and that person will like how that diffuser smells and come to you and have a better experience.
Yep.
So that's really cool. I mean, it's almost like a business idea too.
It is. It's my way of, well, I can't do what I love to do at my day job. I can still influence people in a way I want to.
Yeah, gonna be like sliding them essential oil business cards. Call me later.
Call me later, yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool because, this work, these messages, they're all about just having a better life, a more easeful life with more smiles and good sense, and it's just fun.
It's all about having joy, and there's really there is no reason why you can't live a joyful life every day. Now, I'm not saying that there are some days better than others. I get that, but still, every day, I start every day greeting the day in prayer. I talk to the universe every day, talk to myself every day, talk to my guides every day. It truly changes your perspective for the whole rest of the day to start your day in that kind of reverence. And then I meditate afterwards. So first I speak and then I listen. And it's a practice that I try to tell people it doesn't need to take an hour. It can take 10 minutes, but it's the best 10 minutes you'll probably spend in the entire day.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. When I started a prayer practice in the morning, I felt like there were so many miracles that happened in my day, and just like what the intentions that I was setting, I saw them manifest that day. The kind of relational intentions and my own energetic intentions. So another simple thing, and this one, I dare say it is easy, unless the whole speaking with something bigger than oneself doesn't seem easy for someone. That could take some practice. That could take an open mind and open heart and cultivating that. So again, like another simple thing that's life changing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And like you said, it's really, we spend our entire day running from thing to thing, thinking about one thing to the other, and taking 15 minutes to a half hour just for us to reconnect with those aspects of existence, creation, and then taking maybe another half hour to do what gives us joy or to relax. So it's an hour out of 24, and it will turn the remaining hours of your day, it will put them in overdrive as to what you can accomplish and how you feel.
Yeah. I gotta be honest here that with this prayer practice that I mentioned, it would regularly take me 5 to 10 minutes. So even less than half an hour. That said, on some mornings, I would wake up and I would wake up needing to go somewhere because I had an appointment or something. And then I thought, oh, I'm missing out. I'm not doing it. And then you know what? I just started doing that prayer practice during my transportation time.
Yep, same me. I did the same thing.
So no excuses, y'all.
Yep.
And yeah, so even if it takes 2 minutes, I've even shortened it and just done sort of the beginning of it. So it's about getting creative, it's about getting intuitive, and it's about saying, I choose this no matter what because it makes my life better. Yep. And I think that goes for everything that we've been talking about today. Like, do you choose it? Because you always have a choice. And why do you choose it? Well, it makes my life better. It gives me more joy. And it's just fun. I deserve to have fun. I deserve to have a good life. Everybody does.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And it's one of many changes you can make over time. And I have made, arguably, I've counted them up, 40 to 50 changes in my life in the last 4 years.
Wow.
Some of them were really tiny.
Yeah.
Some were much bigger. But I would say that, and they've been across all 4 pillars. And I would say that, because I actually scored myself prior to all this, and then I scored myself today. And so it's made a huge difference. And that's kind of what I want my clients to see is, okay, here's your base, here's where you start. I said, it's not a pill. I can't give you a pill and you're going to feel better in an hour. That's not going to be the case here. It took you years to get to this point. It's not going to get fixed in 30 minutes. But, a year from now, you can look back and you've been doing the work, you will be better. Or you could just say, I can't do this, and a year from now be in the same place.
Yeah.
This is yours.
And if we live to a year from now, that year from now is coming. It's going to happen.
Right.
So did we start then? And it's okay if we don't start. Again, it's our choice. That said, like we get to choose to start and to do this. And with the support of someone like yourself, it can be fun, it can be easeful, it can be joyful, and it can feel and be truly supported so that there's no way to fail.
Right.
Just to start is a huge win. Just to continue is a huge win, and that's that.
Right. 100% agree with you. I've had one client that the only thing they did, and they didn't stay a client for very long, was they got rid of soda and started drinking water.
Amazing.
And that alone probably made a huge difference in their health. They lost a lot of weight as a result of that. They didn't do anything else.
Yeah.
but that's okay. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they've already probably improved their life, their quality of life, enough to, until they'll maybe a year from now, they may come back and say, what's next? That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, exactly. There's chapters, there's phases, and these teachings, this work is always available to us.
Right.
So whatever it is that we can do, just even a little shift, even that 5 minutes, and then see where you're at and take it from there.
Exactly.
I want to ask you this assessment. Is it available to anyone to take? Do you have that online? Can I go assess my 4 pillars?
I'm actually putting together I'm taking the assessment and putting together into like an ebook so I can actually
Mm-hmm.
put it out there so folks can do that. So I'm not ready yet. Give
Okay.
me about 2 weeks to get it ready. But yes, I'm going to put it out there and let folks, because it's going to have the assessment, but have some descriptive information to help them easily assess, and then
Nice.
have some descriptions about what that means, and then some ideas about how they can begin to address that. And then obviously they can talk to me about it, but I'll give them some ideas to do it themselves just to get started. But yeah, I'm trying to put that together to make it something that's distributable to anybody.
Okay, well, awesome. We'll put some links to your work down below, and whenever you get that ebook, that link will also be down below here. And thank you so much for this conversation. It's been so incredible to talk with you today. I think, yeah, there's just a lot of resonance and healing and joy, and I'm so excited for everybody that gets to work with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you as well.